Rain slicked the rusted rooftops of Sector 9, painting the alleyways in oily rainbows. The temperature on Titan Station had dropped again. Artificial atmospheres always malfunctioned in the outer sectors. People moved quickly, hunched in ragged coats and scavenged gear, avoiding eye contact and hope alike. Jonas Hale, a wiry man in his mid-50s, limped down a cracked walkway, his old mechanic's jacket flapping in the cold wind. His joints ached. His left knee had never healed right from the mining collapse on Epsilon 7. That was 12 years ago, the last time anyone had called him young. He had 1 credit left. 1. He could trade it for a stale ration cube. Maybe a half-charged thermal cell. But something stopped him when he saw her. Huddled in the shadows behind a dumpster was a figure. Tall, slender, not human. She trembled violently, her silvery skin blotched purple with exposure. Thin ridges lined her cheeks, and her eyes, luminescent violet, were half-lidded in exhaustion. An alien. A Cerenthian, if he wasn't mistaken. Not many of her kind made it this far out. They were prized and hunted. She didn't speak as he approached. Just stared, wide-eyed, when he shrugged off his coat and wrapped it around her. Then, without a word, he disappeared into a nearby kiosk, flashing his last credit for a thermal blanket. The kiosk owner stared at him. "You're really blowing your last shit on this." Jonas grunted. "She's freezing." Back outside, he draped the blanket over her shoulders. She flinched, then sighed, a low, melodic sound, and leaned into the warmth. "I'm not worth that," she murmured. "You are," Jonas said simply. Scene 2. Shelter. Her name was Aria. He brought her to his cramped shelter, a cube of scavenged metal stacked between 2 decaying towers. Inside, a salvaged heating coil barely kept the chill away. She sat on his cot, legs pulled to her chest, the blanket cocooned around her. Jonas busied himself warming leftover stew over crackling coil. "You helped me," she said softly, voice melodic but brittle. He looked at her over his shoulder. "Wasn't gonna let you freeze." No one else tried. People forget how to be human when credits get scarce. "I'm not human," she reminded him. He offered her a steaming bowl anyway. Close enough. She took it. Their fingers brushed. Her skin, while cool, was no longer ice. That night, she slept in his cot while he slumped in the chair. He didn't sleep much anymore anyway. Scene 3. Connection. Over the next week, Aria grew stronger. She told him pieces of her story, captured by raiders, sold to traffickers, and finally escaped during a cargo transfer on Titan Station. She hadn't eaten in days. No one helped, not until Jonas. Jonas, in turn, spoke of a life once full of laughter and family. A wife gone from illness. A son lost to war. He'd been drifting since. "You gave up everything for a stranger," she said once as they sat beside the heat coil, steam rising from 2 chipped mugs. "Didn't feel like I had much left to give." "You gave warmth. Kindness." He glanced at her. Her silver hair shimmered even in the dim light. "I just did what I hope someone would have done for me." That night, she didn't take the cot alone. She patted the space beside her. Jonas hesitated. "You sure?" Her answer was a quiet, "You've been alone too long." They lay side by side, neither touching at first. But slowly, as the cold deepened outside, she reached for his hand and placed it against her chest. Her heartbeat was slow and steady. Alien. Comforting. "I can keep you warm too," she whispered. Scene 4. Danger returns. Jonas came back from a supply run to find the shelter ransacked. The heating coil shattered. Aria gone. His heart thudded. He knew who'd done this. The Skarn Syndicate, slavers and flesh merchants. He'd seen their mark burned into the wall. A challenge. Jonas hadn't picked up a plasma cutter in years, but his old gear was still hidden beneath the floor. He suited up. The knee brace clicked into place. His fingers shook, but his eyes burned with clarity. They'd taken her to the market, underground, foul, and guarded by mercs with nothing to lose. He slipped in with a scavenger caravan, then peeled off into the tunnels. He found her in a holding cell, bruised but alive. When she saw him, her expression shattered into a cry. "You shouldn't have come." "Like hell I wouldn't." A guard rounded the corner. Jonas moved fast, slicing the man's rifle arm with the cutter. Alarms blared. They ran through smoke and chaos, past shouting vendors and stunned onlookers. Back streets. Saw grates. They didn't stop until they reached Sector 11, out of scan reach. Collapsed in the alley, she turned to him, tears cutting through the grime on her cheeks. "No one's ever come for me." He pulled her close. "I will. Every damn time." Scene 5. Something new. Weeks passed. The shelter was gone, but they made a new one, an old cargo container near the docks, wired with heat coils and scavenged panels. He repaired bots by day. She repaired people, whispering healing songs that only Cerinthians knew. They shared the cot now, every night. Jonas would wake to find her curled against his chest, her fingers tracing lines across his shoulder. He no longer noticed the chill in his bones or the ache in his knee. One evening, as rain drummed on the metal roof, she looked at him seriously. "I want to stay." He turned to her, brushing hair from her glowing eyes. "You already are." "No. I mean truly. Not just survive. Live. With you." Jonas felt a lump rise in his throat. He hadn't thought himself worthy of that kind of promise. "You sure?" She smiled. "You gave me your last credit. I'm giving you the rest of my life." Scene 6. Home. They rebuilt. He taught her human tech. She taught him alien healing. Together, they turned the shelter into something better, a small repair and healing shop. People came from all over Titan Station, drawn by whispers of kindness and warmth in the coldest quadrant. They made enough to eat, to live, to smile. One morning, Jonas woke to sunlight through the cracks, Aria sleeping beside him, her hand resting over his heart. He kissed her forehead. She stirred, eyes opening lazily. "Nothing," he said. "Just thinking how lucky I am." She pulled him closer. "You gave warmth when I had none. Now, I will warm your bed, your days, and your soul. For as long as you'll have me." He smiled, eyes misting. "For the rest of this life," he said, voice rough. And in the frozen reaches of a forgotten station, where hope had withered, warmth bloomed again. In the touch of a hand, the breath of a vow, and the glow of two souls who found home in each other.